Good afternoon. My name is Bo Ottman, and today I'm going to be doing my visualization project on racial profiling and discrimination with the police force in the Southwest Florida region. And how I'm going to start this out is with an example from Michael Sturgis, who is a Cape Coral resident, and he's also a construction employee with 6 children in the Southwest Florida area. To start with him, he was just working a normal shift, and as far as everything goes, he was just out doing a normal day's job, and all of a sudden he got a gun pointed at him by a female police officer of the Lee County Police Force. And honestly, as far as everything is concerned, it's really not right for someone just to be able to have the power to point a gun at somebody, especially when they don't have anything that they're doing wrong. And it's just not fair to them. It's not something that they can defend themselves against, because no one's going to defend themselves with someone who's armed pointing a weapon at them. But the reason that this story in particular stuck out to me is because the only reason she pointed the weapon at him was because he was mistaken for someone who looked like him and was resembling the same outfit. They didn't share similar characteristics, and they didn't have anything similar other than their skin color and just a few different pieces of clothing that might have been the same. But they never even asked him as far as who he was or where he had been. She literally pointed the gun at him right away and just started questioning him with everything. And he was literally just sitting in his front seat on his phone and didn't hear the first command. She literally came up to the window and pointed a gun like that at him and left him defenseless. You can't do anything about that in front of a cop or you're going to get shot. And then that's just going to be a fatality that someone's going to have to worry about later along down the road. And as far as that's concerned, I don't think police should have this type of power, because it kind of gets too much into their head sometimes, and it kind of allows for them to do things that they may not normally do, such as, in this case, point a weapon at someone that is innocent and hasn't been proven to do anything wrong. This guy was literally just going to work and was just trying to defend himself as a civilian. He was doing nothing wrong. He didn't have attitude. He was actually very scared. He literally didn't know what to do. He was fighting for his life. And all he thought he was doing that morning was going to work. And a company I looked up in particular is the Racial Justice Program. And they had a campaign, and they have a campaign with individual entities such as Michael that defend people that are in these cases from racial profiling and things like that people such as the police have been bringing upon them in the Southwest Florida area. And as a student at Florida Gulf Coast University, this is very close to us. This is pretty much in our backyard. And we allow people to just continue to act and do things like this. And this has been going on since the Rodney King case back in the 70s. And we've been trying to do things that will defend us and allow us to do stuff. But when it comes to it, there's not really much resolution. I haven't really seen much since I've been born, and obviously over the course of the time I've grown up in the past 22 years. But nothing's getting done to defend these people. And it just keeps causing more issues in the area. And it's going to end up causing things like riots, protests. And everyone to blame is just sitting back like nothing happened, like it's a normal day for them. But then these people that are fending for their lives in the Cape Coral area, the Naples, Fort Myers area, they're left defenseless and can't even defend themselves. The only freedom that they have in particular is freedom of speech. And when someone's pointing a gun at you, like in Michael Sturgis' case, you don't really have much of a way to defend yourself other than that. And that doesn't really do much when someone's got a piece of metal pointed at you. It's just a fact. And what the Racial Justice Program's campaign would be great for is if they could somehow maybe spread it throughout the Naples, Fort Myers, the Lee County area as a whole, and Collier County, and just kind of get their word out in a very peaceful way, just to let people know. Like maybe set up a meeting downtown somewhere and have an event and just kind of display the emotions that some of these people feel, and maybe bring some of the victims like Michael Sturgis who have been affected personally by this. He's a guy that had 6 kids, did nothing wrong at all. He went to go work, and next thing you know, he's 20 minutes into his job. He's literally at the bucket truck filling up his water because it's hot. It's Southwest Florida. It's one of the hottest places in the United States as far as humidity. And he literally just gets a gun pointed at him for no reason, and there's nothing he can do to defend himself. And personally, what I would think as far as a resolution is concerned is we can maybe do more background checks on these officers, and obviously, of course, carry the zero tolerance policy to violence and discrimination. But maybe what we could do is give them potentially more body cams on some of these officers in the Cape Coral and Lee County area that are going to some of these quote unquote bad neighborhoods, and kind of just see what it's like from their firsthand perspective. And it kind of would allow us to see what it's like, because when you run up on somebody with a gun that literally did nothing wrong, he's literally going to freak out. And sometimes, like, if he runs, thankfully in this case he didn't, it could cause a fatality that is obviously not necessary, but on an innocent human being such as a man or a woman, over something that literally he wasn't even attached to. It was just a hunch that they got, and he happened to look like one of those characters. Now, with everything I've said so far, my visualization would be that we can have a peaceful Southwest Florida area and maybe alleviate some of these issues that we've been having over the course of the past few years. Especially now, Southwest Florida is a very thriving area, and there's a lot going for it. But if we keep having things like this pop up, like what happened to Michael Sturgis, it's just going to cause issues throughout the whole area, and it's not going to really be able to be dealt with because people are going to just feel that way towards the cops when someone just pulls a gun out on them like that. With that being said, I'm in support for what the police do. I'm a huge supporter of them, the firefighters, everyone that we have in these areas. But my resolution would just be that we need to just tighten up on how we're giving them this power. And pulling out a gun's not necessary whatsoever. You can just talk to someone like a human being. Michael Sturgis was a human being, just like the female officer that pointed the gun at him in the first place. And I don't think that it needed to come to having a gun pointed at him, especially when he has 6 kids to feed at his home. So I just want to say on a final note that my visualization would be to have everything scot-free, and then we can maybe clean up these acts of racial discrimination and police brutality and have a more peaceful nation. But thank you very much for your time, and have a great rest of your day.